Hey, this is Noah with the Creative Startup. Today we're going to be talking about your lizard brain. So there's this little small part of your brain that's right on top of your spine. It's called a limbic system. And basically its only function is to keep you alive. It doesn't make you happy, it doesn't help you reason super well, it just keeps you alive. So the limbic system is mostly responsible for feelings like fear, or sex drive, or anger, or revenge. Anything that's kind of like just knee-jerk and that you don't really have a ton of control over is typically your limbic system. And it's pretty incredible how strong this system is. Really, it exerts so much force over the rest of your brain. There's a really interesting study done by a Swiss doctor back in the early 1900s. I'm just going to call him Edward because his last name is hard to pronounce. But he was working with this patient who had short-term memory loss, right? So she remembered who she was in her childhood and stuff like that. But as far as like current memory, she couldn't form new memories. And she would go meet him every morning and he would shake her hand and reintroduce himself. And one morning he put a tack in his hand, like kind of right in the middle of his hand, and reached out to shake her hand and it poked her. And she, so she flinched back and kind of like, why'd you do that for? But then the next day she came in, and when he extended his hand towards her, she flinched back. She flinched back. And remember, this woman has no short-term memory. She doesn't remember who he is. She doesn't recognize his face. Nothing in her conscious brain has any recollection of what happened. But something deep inside her limbic system, that part of her brain right on top of her spine, retracted, said, no, don't get hurt. Don't get hurt. This same system works in our brains today, and it's what keeps us a lot of times from being successful. So I've been reading this really good book, Linchpin by Seth Godin, and he talks about the lizard brain. I would highly recommend getting this book. There's a chapter called Resistance in it, and it's just super powerful talking about this. But basically, your lizard brain experiences pain and then says, never again, right? Never again. I'm not going to go through that. I'm not going to experience that. I'm not going to try that again. It hurt, and I'm not going to do it again. So maybe you went in for an audition once, and it failed, and it hurt. It didn't feel very good. Your limbic system says, never again are we doing that. That's going to hurt. That's going to be painful. Or maybe you show somebody your art and they don't love it and they don't like it. That's painful. And so your limbic system is going to say, nope, we're not doing that again. Never again are we going to try that. And you can see how this is a great survival tactic, right? So if you went and encountered a saber-toothed tiger and the thing is about to bite your head off and you have to run away, try to save your life, your brain's going to remember not to take that path again. That's a pretty good survival mechanism. That's why humans have lasted as long as we have. But this system is not good for making you happy. It's not good for making you successful. It's not good for fostering art and creativity, because art and creativity takes risk. You have to take risks. You have to do things that don't work and try them over and over again until they do. You have to do things that are hard and painful. And your limbic system is going to stop you every time. I told you that story earlier just to emphasize like how strong this part of our brain is. It's subconscious. We don't even recognize it happening, and it's screaming at us, don't do that again, don't do that again, don't get hurt. So I'm just going to read a couple little parts of Linchpin here by Seth Godin, and we're going to just kind of see what he has to say about the symptoms of this lizard brain and how we can really avoid succumbing to it. Some of the symptoms of the lizard brain include you don't ship on time. Late is the first step to never. So by ship he means like you don't get your project done, you don't finish whatever you're doing on time, you just kind of keep putting it off. You procrastinate, claiming that you need it to be perfect. You ship early, sending out defective ideas, hoping they'll be rejected. You suffer anxiety about what you wear to an event. You make excuses involving lack of money. You do excessive networking with the goal of having everyone like and support you. You engage in deliberately provocative behavior designed to ostracize you so that you'll have no standing in the community. You demonstrate a lack of desire to obtain new skills. You spend hours on obsessive data collection. Jeffrey Einsberg reports that 79% of businesses obsessively capture internet traffic data, yet only 30% of them change their sites as a result of the analysis. You be snarky. You start committees instead of taking action, join communities instead of leading, excessively criticize the work of your peers, thus unrealistically rising the bar for your own work. Yeah, there's a longer list of those, but I think that just captures the idea of like a lot of this behavior that we do and we don't know why we do it. Like, why can't I get stuff done on time? Why do I keep procrastinating? Why do I keep putting off this thing that is so important to me? It might seem mysterious, almost like something's holding you back. And the fact is that it is. It's your own brain. It's your own deep emotions holding you back. And you just you have to address that. And the main way to fight this is to not give in, not to scratch the itch. So I'm going to read a little bit more of Linchpin here where he talks about this and what we can do to avoid succumbing to this lizard brain. It says, Shenpa is a Tibetan word that roughly means scratching the itch. I think it's a spiral of pain, something that is triggered by a small event and immediately takes you totally off the range. A small itch gets scratched, which makes it itch more, so you scratch more until you literally are in pain. It's this idea that if you give in to the pain once, it's just like scratching a mosquito bite. And it just makes it worse and worse and worse until it's actually holding you back, until it starts to bleed. So don't give in to that lizard brain. When you want to get something done on time, but you just keep putting off, don't give in. You have to realize that that's something deeper inside of you. You don't pretend like you're busy. You don't pretend like, oh, it just needs to be perfect. Realize that it's really deep inside of you, and that you just need to set that part of your brain aside. You have to set those feelings aside and say, how can I truly do this? How can I get this done? Because once you make a habit of resisting, the resisting becomes easier and easier. I hope that's helpful for you. This is Noah with the Creative Startup. If you enjoyed the video, click subscribe. I'm going to throw a link to buy Linchpin down below. Hope you guys enjoy. Bye.